If all you had was a magnified bolt-action rifle, how could you utilize it for close quarters home defense? That can be a real hard question to answer, and this type of rifle is not meant for close quarters defense, but if that's all you have, you need to know how to use it. The worst thing about these rifles is the ammo. Most bolt-action rifles are in hunting calibers. They're high velocity, heavy bullets, they penetrate a lot, and you really need to look at that. You need to make sure that you're not firing a round that will penetrate your target and continue to go through walls and possibly put somebody at risk in an adjacent home. Even if you are faced with a hostile threat, if you are in an urban area, you are still responsible for knowing what your backstop is. The best way around it is to look at either soft point ammunition or frangible ammunition. It depends on what's available, depending on the particular caliber. This is a .243. This isn't a very big caliber as far as bolt actions go. If you have something like a 300 Win Mag, 338, anything like that, 375 H&H, 30-06, you're looking at a huge overpenetration issue. So you really need to look at that. If you can't get frangible ammo, I recommend a soft point ammo like this right here. This is .243. These are all, I don't know if you can see, those are all soft tipped bullets. Soft tip ammo will expand a little bit better than a full metal jacket. Full metal jackets are known to just zip right through targets and keep on going. So the main thing I urge you to do is, if you're relying on a bolt action rifle for home defense, look at the rounds, do your research, find out what penetrates a lot and what doesn't penetrate as much. It'll greatly behoove you in the end. You don't want to have to engage a hostile threat and that round ends up hurting or killing somebody in an adjacent home. So that, to me, is the number one limiting factor when it comes to bolt actions for home defense, is the penetration. So do your research, find a round that won't penetrate as much. If you can get frangible ammunition for your caliber, do it, because that'll be your best bet. Second big limb fact is this: it's the scope. Scopes are not generally good for close quarters work. That's obvious. The most common scope is a 3x9. Like you see right here, this is a 3x9x40. You see these a lot on rifles. It's the standard hunting scope, if you will, if there is such a thing as a standard out there. The one tip I have for scopes is get it tuned back on its lowest magnification. 3 or 4. I have mine set on 4. I even recommend putting it back on 3. 3 or 4, as long as you keep both eyes open, you can still halfway aim and get a torso hit rather quickly in close range. The reason I say both eyes open is so that way you don't lose your peripheral vision. When you're shooting through a scope, you need to have both eyes open anyway. It's no different than when shooting through either a red dot scope or iron sights. So that's another thing to keep in mind. With scopes, unless you have a fancy illuminated reticle, it's going to be hard to use during low light conditions. So you can do the Clint Smith trick of taping some type of flashlight to your rifle, or you can just turn on your hall lights. That's about the only way to get around it when you're using a regular hunting scope. So there you go. There's 2 points in utilizing a bolt action rifle. Bolt action rifles, I didn't go over the bolt at all. Some people think the bolt is really slow, but with practice you can work a bolt pretty fast. The low capacity I don't really touch on, just because average rifles, even though they have a capacity of 3 to 4 to 5 rounds with a standard magazine, that's still more than enough when you're facing a threat, especially when using such a high caliber firearm such as this. So please keep that in mind. Think about what you're doing if you've got a magnified bolt action and that's all you have for home defense. If that is what you're relying on, also, I highly recommend you get out and at least put something else on layaway. At the very least, get a shotgun. Shotguns are very inexpensive these days. You can find them for a couple $100. Sometimes you can even find them cheaper in pawn shops. Go to a pawn shop, get a $100 special. That will do you better than a bolt-action rifle. But at the same time, while you're saving up for money to get a shotgun, and all you have is this, make sure you can utilize it to the best of your ability. So with that said, thanks for watching. Keep that powder dry.